Hi everybody, Trey here. I'm in an awesome place. I'm in the high mountains of Oregon, and wait till I show you where I am. It's so cool. I've only slept like 1 hour out of the past 30, and I am hurting. It was the hour I just slept, and it was one of those hours I probably shouldn't have slept because I just woke up and I felt, there's that feeling that there's 1,000 knives going through your soul. That's what I'm still going through. Anyway, let me show you where I am. So I'm here at Crater Lake. It's a beautiful morning. And I'm going to go run up this pathway and show you my setup because it's kind of right up here. Okay, so here I am. Here's my camera setup right here, and I will talk about the composition and the setup and all that sort of thing. By the way, right now everything's blown out because of the iPad camera. Can't show it all, but my Nikon will. Anyway, so it's a perfect morning. I decided to come up here because I was on my way to Burning Man for a week. And right after that I go to China, so I'll try to make these behind the scenes videos for y'all, just so you can see what I'm thinking and what I'm doing for the shot and this sort of thing. So here we go. This is a Nikon D3X. It's on my tripod there, and I have a 14 to 24 lens. The problem is that it makes this middle area kind of small, but I've done that just so that I can get the sweeping of everything else in. I get the sweep of the trees down here. I get this really cool kind of overhanging root system over here. I get the edge of the tree, and then from back here even, I get the edges of these boughs hanging over, so they all work together. Something nice. So here when I go here, so this is hard to hold the iPad at the same time. Go interval timer shooting, right, left, up. The old Nintendo cheat code. And I say okay, it will take all the photos for me. It starts with the dark, and will go brighter and brighter and brighter. And basically, that's how I chose to set up this particular shot. Okay, here's another setup. By the way, so I'm here waiting for the sun to come up. You can see it's almost over, but while I'm waiting, I'm doing some other compositions. Here, I think this rock is kind of nice. Okay, and the distance is nice. But look, when you're up here, do you see this rock that's close to us? It's kind of below the horizon. So I moved the camera down to get this rock above the horizon, or at least above the rock line there, because then it's more interesting. Okay, if it's up here, you're not sure, but if it's down here, and these are one of these little tricks I do to make things feel more 3D, is that if something is in the foreground, I will help you see that it's in the foreground. People's brains will immediately be able to detect what's closer and what's further away. Okay, that's one aspect. The other aspect is that it's a nice shape, and here you can see the shape better when it's against a background. Uh-oh, the sun's coming up here. Okay, we're taking another set here. Now I've set it to 7 because the sun is now so bright coming over the edge that I need 7 exposures to really capture it the right way. The other tiny thing I've done is I've aimed the camera. You see how I've aimed it down? That'll bring the sun much closer to the top, and it will also take that mountain and stretch it up a little bit higher. At least that happens with a wide-angle lens. Okay, I'm about to squeeze off my next set of 7. Of course, I'm still shooting 7 because I'm shooting into the sun from -3 to +3. The sun is still just cresting over the hill here, and I went about a quarter mile up the path here to find another composition. So I'm pretty wide now. You can see all the way from here to here with my camera. All right, and I walked up and down the path. You can see this tree is quite close to me. You can see how quickly it translates across the lake. I have the camera a little bit lower so that the tree is above the horizon or above the tree line, because that's better than a little bit below. And also I position the camera exactly here because the vertical line of that tree, its distance from there to the sun is a good ratio from its distance to the island there. So basically that's 1 unit away, and from the tree to the sun is 1.618, or the ratio of 1 to 1.618, which is phi, or the golden ratio. And it breaks up the blue in a nice, beautiful way. Okay, I'm setting up another shot here. I've set it back to 5 exposures because I'm no longer aiming at the sun. And what I'm doing here is I'm capturing the Mary Lake, that island, the nice sky here, and also this really nice shaped tree here. I'm not getting all of the tree. Remember, even though all of the tree is kind of interesting, you only need part of the tree. The same goes for almost any subject matter. Sometimes if you find an interesting subject, you're inclined to get the entire thing in, but you don't have to. You can just get part of it. And the viewer will take the rest and extrapolate out what that might look like in their brain, and they will enjoy doing that. So the sun is now kind of behind this cloud. I've hiked probably about a mile around the lake so far, and I'm going to keep on hiking around the path here. But it's a nice morning. You can probably hear the birds and all sorts of things. It's very nice. Okay, here's another kind of safety-related tip, I guess. So I'm on a nice rock here, but it's quite perilous over the side here, as you can see. Okay, but you can see where my tripod legs are here. You don't have to be right up on the edge of everything. I see a lot of photographers get up on the edge of everything, and it's really not necessary. You don't see that much more unless you're aiming straight down, which you're not usually. You're usually aiming off like this. Even with a wide-angle lens, you're not going to get the ground. So anyway, just a little thing to say there. Okay, and firing off another set. I set up here. I walked a little further down the path because there's this really nice rock here that's jutting out. You can probably see how it juts out right there. Looks even more dramatic with the wide-angle lens. And also there's this nice kind of mossy log over there. That won't come out too big. It'll come out a little bit bigger because it's on the edge of the wide angle. But again, I'm getting all of this in. Okay, here's a cool one. So I set it to 7. What I'm getting here is the sun coming through the trees and the lake. That's sort of on the left side. But on the right side, let me see, watch this as this opens up. On the right side, you're going to see the path that I just walked up, which is right here. Okay, so it'll be a nice sort of bifurcation. It's perfect case for HDR, of course, because I'm standing here and I can see this path perfectly well. And I could also see this area perfectly well without that 3-second video delay that you just saw. So this will be a nice one. And maybe that's sort of another tip is, you know, even though you're out here taking pictures of the lake and you're fully focused on the lake and the trees and the sky and the sun and everything, occasionally there's really good opportunities to get the path and things beyond the lake itself. Here's a little bonus postscript for you, if you're still watching. So I just sat down here on these rocks, and I was just walking along looking at the lake, and I was thinking of something. I was reminded of something. I was reminded of when I first started to figure out the world, to kind of grok it. And it was in 5th grade, something that a teacher said. And it's lake related. Don't worry, this isn't a stretch of a connection I'm making here. It's what reminded me of it. And she asked the whole class, she said, can anyone in the class tell me why lakes are still in the morning? Why there's no waves? And, you know, the class doesn't really know. We're all 5th graders. But we're thinking about it, or at least some of us are thinking about it. And she says, anybody? And no one really raised their hand. And she told us, she goes, well, there's no waves yet. All the waves and ripples come later in the day after the fish wake up. And the whole class goes, oh, okay. But then I raised my hand and I said, I don't think that sounds right. That just doesn't make sense to me. And she said, no, Trey, that's the reason. And I said, well, you know, why couldn't it be the wind? And sometimes in the morning, you know, there's not much wind. And she said, no, it's the fish. So anyway, that always kind of stuck in my craw, and I thought, you know, I really don't think she's right. And so since then, of course she wasn't right, but I didn't know at the time, because, you know, you're just, you believe what you're told. And from that point on, I started questioning everything. I mean, really questioning, like, what makes this person a so-called expert in anything? And so, you know, I do generally accept things at face value if the person seems to know what they're talking about, and I don't investigate it. But if it's something that I do find interesting, I will investigate it deeply and kind of form my own foundational premises for a lot of the things that I know now. So anyway, these things that I tell you, or I teach you or whatever with photography, you shouldn't necessarily even believe those. You should go out and try them for yourself. But, well, in my case, you should just go ahead and trust me, because I do know what I'm talking about. But generally, you should also question everything you hear, especially from the so-called experts who are out there, you know, reminding you that they are an expert on things, because that's the first sign that there might be a fly in the soup. Okay, try out.